Hi guys, I hope everybody's safe and I hope everybody's keeping well. I'm sure we're all aware of the current situation, but this isolation and working from home means that me, myself and Mind can't meet up at the moment, but we're going to be doing our very best to provide you guys with free content on our social media platforms. And we're also taking our podcasts online. So today's podcast is an educational one, and it's going to be fitting for many at the moment as we're not only just office-based, but working from computers and working from home with very little movement. Our guest is Pav Christophorou, and I know Pav personally as he's been my physiotherapist for many years, and we're going to be discussing the effects of prolonged sitting, not only on our physical health and our posture, but also our mental health, and then what we can do to make interventions and become more conscious of our actions throughout the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hiya, Pav, how you doing?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Dan. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all good. How's everything in the current situation?
Yeah, it's okay, mate. It's all right. Trying to get by. I guess you're just trying to make the best of a bad situation, really, mate. Just trying to muddle through. I mean, it's bad in some ways, but using the time in other ways, mate. Doing this with you as well, mate. So it's a good opportunity just to kind of get back involved with a couple of things, mate, and start putting a few bits together.
I suppose this isn't something that you could have done before because you're so busy, at work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like many people, I've unfortunately been furloughed off. So I've got a couple of things that I do, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this has given me the opportunity, really, mate, just to revisit a couple of projects and stuff, and think about things going forward, mate. So hopefully, on the back of this, mate, something good will happen, and we'll see how it goes. What about you?
Yeah, it's been all good. Just obviously with the personal training and with the corporate clients,
No one-to-ones, yeah.
No one-to-ones or group sessions. So we've just got to go at it from a different approach and just make sure we're connecting with people and, give out free content, just have conversations with people.
Yeah.
We can do in this, in this time.
Yeah, exactly. I think ironically, people are doing that a lot more now, and they just kind of reaching out to people using platforms like this a bit more and stuff. So I don't think I spoke to you as much in the last few days than I have in the last few years, mate.
I know. It's been good to catch up, to be honest. And as you've been more physio for quite a few years now, and that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast and have a chat about prolonged sitting. Have a chat about working from home and the things we can do to minimise any pain, any injury, and really get out of this situation.
Completely. I mean, I've been working from home now for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And it can be a killer, mate. Sitting at a proper office desk is bad enough, but all of a sudden you're thrust at home. You've probably not got the luxury of an office desk or a decent chair, using what you can, dining room and stuff. So it's you've got to think about things, and it's not all doom and gloom. There's plenty that can be done to counterbalance that and stuff, mate. I mean, so you're working outside, and you'd never get that in a normal situation. Do you know what I mean? So it's just thankful that the last couple of days, mate, or the last week or so, it's been really, really nice. So where you're normally sat in an office and over at M&D, you're sat outside, mate, sipping coffee, listening to the birds weep, doing your work, mate. That's got to be a winner. So exactly.
It stays like this.
Yeah.
Start raining out of nowhere in the middle of it.
You ruin your hair, mate.
Just before we continue, I reckon just maybe pull the microphone a little bit further away from your face, because I think it's just giving a little bit of a sharpness to the audio.
Is it? Yeah, okay, mate.
To it, if that's possible.
How's that, mate? I mean, I could take him off.
Just see how that works. I just
dropped the one out, mate. It's dropped the mic down a little bit then. So see how you get on with that.
Yeah, that sounds. It's just, I think it might just be the pitch of both of our voices, like resonating with the speakers, mate. It could just be that, and we'll just have to go with what we've got.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Okay.
Yeah, that's loads better. That's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. What are you gonna do then? You're gonna clip that out from your thing that you're actually going to use?
Pardon?
Are you gonna cut that out then? That what we've just.
No.
Do you want to start again? No.
Just roll with it. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're making the best out of a bad situation. We've got to go with what we've got.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So, obviously we're calling this It Happens, and we're going to be talking about the effects of physical, and mental health of prolonged sitting, which I know a lot of people are doing because a lot of people are office-based, people are in isolation. Before we start that, can you give us a little bit of an introduction, about yourself? I mean, I know you, but just for anybody that's listening.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely, I'm definitely going to focus on the physical aspect of things, and well qualified in that respect, mate. But the mental side of things, it's good to team up with you on this, because I think we can both put some points across and help a few people out there, mate. Because I think in equal proportions, there's going to be people suffering from both, mate. Working from home or even though they're still sat at a desk, mate. So this is a little bit about me. So a bit like yourself, Dan, I was kind of got into the fitness industry quite early on, and then true to form, I came out of it. I didn't think there was anywhere it could go, and kind of came out of the fitness industry. Typically, it boomed and stuff, but there's certainly no regrets. I've had a good innings since. So I kind of went back to uni, retrained as a physio, and then spent a few years kind of specialising in A&E and major trauma. And then alongside that, I set up a private kind of physiotherapy clinic. So I'm based in Tamworth, like yourself, smack bang in the middle of the Midlands. And had a little clinic working. I've been based out of a couple of different places, but now I've kind of not doing anything like that at the minute, but I've been seeing people at their own home. So so that's going quite well, mate. It's a great profession. It's great to help people in a lot of ways and stuff. So and then alongside that, I do medical sales. So I sell spinal implants. So I work for a company there on the page, mate, Zimmer Biomet. So we specialise in spinal implants. So take quite a lot of pride now in being able to deal with people both ends of the spectrum. Before they need surgery, and then obviously after they need surgery, and that bit in the middle where they are having surgery as well. So I work with surgeons, and we make recommendations for implants based on what they need, and a lot of that's come about because of poor posture, believe it or not. We'll talk about that as we go on. So I mean, this next slide, mate. I mean, business is booming, really. It's good for me, but it's unfortunate for a lot of people out there and stuff. So, there's a bit of an idea there as to what I do. That picture in the middle, it's got a couple of artificial discs, so they go in the neck, and then you've got a couple of pictures there from things that go in the back. You've got a picture there of quite a grotty looking spine. So, that does show the extent of what can happen, mate, from prolonged sitting.
I know that you've helped me a lot with not necessarily posture, but I've got a natural genetic slippage in my back.
You've got a slip, haven't you? Yeah. So if you look at that picture actually on the screen with the screws and rods in it, your back's nothing like that. You're in good shape, but there's a slight slip there in one of the vertebrae. So it's unfortunately, mate. It's and you definitely want to try and avoid having surgery, mate. And so it's about doing as much as you can preventatively, to avoid that, mate. People think surgery is the quick fix and stuff, but it's not, mate. It's brutal. It can take ages to recover. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. So I'll always advise against surgery, mate. And you imagine yours really well as you can, and a couple of treatments along the way.
And I've got to put a lot of that down to some of the advice you give me, and then generally keeping my posture in check, keeping my core strong, and making sure that I'm keeping my body strong.
Exactly, mate.
Exactly what we're discussing, the importance of in this talk. It's important to do things daily that are going to prevent all of these things, no matter whether you have got a genetic injury.
Completely, mate.
Naturally, there's always something we can do that's not going straight to that surgery point.
It's about having that accountability. It's about you taking onus. You've only got one body. You got to look after it, mate. And it's funny sometimes how an alarm on your car, so you get a warning thing flash up on your car, and how quick people are to take their car to a garage and get that sorted, mate. But when your body's screaming out at you in pain or in agony, and it's telling you need to change something, and if people ignore that or try and work through it, but yeah, you know, it's trying to listen into your body and you know, respond to it, mate, and work with it.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, obviously we said
How
earlier.
is your back? Is it all okay now? I mean, I've not
Oh,
been able to
mate.
see you for a good couple of weeks, but
Fingers crossed. You know, I'm making the best out of it. Every day I'm doing a workout. Each day I'm stretching. I'm trying to minimize, you know, the amount of time that I spend sitting down. And if I am sitting, I'll, you know, give myself a posture check every few minutes.
yeah,
The neck
yeah,
back,
yeah.
up straight. You know, I'd say it's probably, you know, I'd say in the last 2 years, I'd say I'm running up to it being the best it's been. Yeah.
What's been the main thing, do you think, that you've changed? I mean, are you lifting less heavy weights? Are you doing more other things, stretching,
I think
staying supple?
I think with me, I think there's so many contributing factors. You know, I used to lift quite heavy, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
No, of course
good
not.
to be strong if you're not injured. And I've slightly come away from that a little bit, and I try and only load my spine, say, once or twice a week.
Yeah.
I don't deadlift too much or squat too much. I do it maybe once a week, and I pick either which I want to do.
Yeah.
I'd say I've done a lot more core work, and I have to monitor alcohol consumption and sugar consumption, because I found that after a night of drinking, the next day or the next 3 days, my back's suffering.
No
And
way. So what, some kind of inflammatory response there or something, or?
yeah, I think, you know, that there's that natural slip there, but I think that when it's, you know, when it's dehydration, when you know the cells and all around that
Yeah, good shout, mate. Yeah.
dehydrated, I think that has a massive effect. And another one is sugar. So if I noticed I've had a binge, a real binge, because I know I can eat, I can eat until forever.
Dan versus food.
Literally, man. But the next day or 2 or 3, it might set my back off onto a bit of like an inflammatory response.
Yeah.
So it's just those combination of things within life. Minimise
But
stress.
that's what I was talking about. Just it's about listening into your body, you know, and trying things, removing things from your diet, seeing
Yeah.
whether they've had an effect or not, bringing them back in, you know, and just be mindful, you know, and jotting things down in a diary if you need to, you know, day 3, Wednesday, you know, remove sugar from my diet and you know, just monitoring it in that regard, mate, and
Definitely.
introducing it back in and seeing what response it has.
I mean, I think that with all of our health, you know, everybody is an individual. We're not a robot. So what works for one person
Oh,
might need
completely. Yeah.
and changing for
Yeah.
someone else. So it's about getting to know yourself, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
And
probably the best thing I've heard you say ever, mate. You know, it's exactly that. There's no prescription. There's no, you know, there's no one size fits all thing, mate. It's, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's doing different things. Genetic makeup, structure, anatomy, things like that, mate. It's way beyond what we're even, you know, can talk about on this podcast, mate.
Yeah.
So,
but saying that, there are things that we can do that everyone can do, which will help. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And we'll talk about a few of those. And you know, I could have made this go on for hours, mate. But you know, what I've chosen to do really is just focus on a couple of things, you know, and you know, and we can always build on those, mate, in further, you know, further get-togethers, mate, further meetings, further podcasts and stuff. So, but you know, and that's the other thing, you know, it's tailoring it to individual people. But what I've tried to give today is just a bit of general advice, and you know, and we'll see whether that helps anyone out and stuff.
Yeah, of course. You know, if you want to go through a few slides and just
let's see what I've got, mate. So I do a program called See It Happens, as you know. So what that focuses on is the detrimental effects of sitting. You might have heard people talk about sitting as the new smoking and stuff, but you know, it's coming to light now that it, you know, it's really, really bad, and unfortunately, you know, the way a lot of industries are going, it's, you know, back in the day, people had manual jobs, you know, heavy lifting jobs, but now it's gone full circle, and people are now having to sit more and do a lot of their work sat down at a desk, and then into the mix come mobile phones and tablets and stuff, mate, which just plays havoc with the body. So it's this screen here, it just shows that some of the most common pain areas is the lower back, and then you've got the neck and shoulders, and then you've got other kind of non-musculoskeletal things happening to your body and stuff, which we'll talk about as well.
I mean, we weren't designed to naturally to just sit. We were designed
completely not, mate.
Move, carry.
Yeah. Exactly, mate. Body's designed to move. They're designed to bear weight and load. And it's just important, mate. It's so important for the structures in your body and stuff. If you're not, the only part of the body we're loading now is the spine, but it should be the legs, it should be the arms. All these bones and joints should be bearing the weight equally and stuff. Not just the lower back and the neck and stuff.
And I suppose we're only loading it in one, we're only going into flexion, so leaning forward.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly that. And the average, interesting fact, the average person can only hold, I've seen you kind of correct yourself a couple of times into posture, into, a good right posture. But the average person can only hold that for about 3 minutes. And then what you suddenly find then is you sink back into a slumped posture and back to where you begin and stuff. But there's lots you can do to help improve that and stuff. So, but I mean, for me, it's like I said, business is booming, and a lot of that, unfortunately, is coming from sitting in. It's coming from mobile phones and stuff and tablets. And I know obviously we're using them at the minute, but it's it's about managing things in between and stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, if you look at this slide here, the average human head's between 4.5 and 5.5 kilograms and stuff. So at 15 degrees flexion, which isn't a lot, that all of a sudden your head then equates to 12 kilograms, and then progressively gets worse. If you get to 60 degrees, which is kind of like that, and that's probably most people's, texting position, all of a sudden then, mate, their head weighs, 27 kilograms and stuff. So,
and I suppose that's not going to just affect the neck. Is that going to have a massive impact lower down?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, I mean, it depends, but if the person's standing or sitting, but yeah, a lot of that stress, then, the muscles at the back of the shoulder, back of the neck get stretched out, and then the lower back then, instead of having that nice curve in it, then becomes flexed as well, so it comes rounded, and then it's just a big knock-on effect, and unfortunately and stuff. So it's just something to be aware of, and I think as soon as you're aware of it, as soon as you start seeing facts and figures like this, shit becomes real. Oh shit, really, that's some damage there that you could potentially do. I mean, 27 kilograms on your neck, on your head, mate. That's
imagine holding 27 kilos.
Exactly. It's a big one. It's a big plate and some, mate. Probably the weight of your wallet on the back of your head, mate. Just bearing down, mate. So it's just in the first instance, it's being aware of that, and and this is the whole point of today. Really, is just get some information out to people, and so just some handy tips, and we can always build on it, mate. And if people want to know more, and we can go with it.
Yeah, but I like what you said there. You said become conscious.
Yeah.
Once you become conscious, you notice everything. So it's every 5 minutes you might, I've just been slouched over, and it's just those little changes throughout the day that are going to make a massive impact. Definitely,
it makes such a difference, mate. Yes, such a difference to that, and you can set timers, you can do all sorts. I won't go into kind of how a desk should look and kind of things that you should be doing, but yeah, it's just being aware, mate. I mean, that picture there, that skeleton there bearing down on your phone, it's just being aware and not to text like that, and holding your phone up like that instead, and little changes like that and stuff.
I suppose it's the effort required to then do that.
Yeah, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, yeah. But over time, you talked about that. But over time, texting like that will become easier, and then that become the normal. You'll build up your shoulder muscles enough so that you can hold it there quite comfortably and stuff. So that's it. And there's another slide here that talks about some of the pressure going through the lower spine as well. So you can see there in just in sitting alone without any weight and with an upright posture, that's 140 kind of kilograms bearing through the disc, and as soon as you start to lean forward, which we spoke about earlier, that that pressure goes up to 185, mate. So but there's a whole load of information out there like this, and it's just important to know just some of the basics and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't want to scare anybody.
Yeah.
It's just making people aware of what they're doing, and have a big impact, like that picture there, 275 or 250, whatever it said. Think about 275 kilos coming down on your spine, for 8 hours a day without movement. Of course, there's going to be negative effects there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, Dan. We're not looking to scare anyone, not looking to encourage people to change their jobs and stuff. Being you are sat in this position as we speak, but it's about what you do in between to manage that. And I think that the most important thing is just that awareness of things and the damage that can be done, and that can go a long way then in preventing any problems and stuff.
You're going to go into some, stretches, some strengthening exercises we can do in a few slides' time. So it's definitely not scaring. It's not it's just to be aware.
Yeah. It's nothing. We're not going to be able to stop working like this. You can make small changes, and those small changes make the biggest difference and stuff. So having a headset or an earpiece instead of using the phone. The amount of people I see kind of using the phone like this and trying to type away, mate, that's the worst possible thing that you can do. So just a small investment in a pair of headphones and an earpiece can make the big difference. Say that again, mate.
That gonna put tension and load through one side?
Completely, mate. Yeah, so you overstretch the one side of the neck, that loses its elasticity, and then you're compressing the other side of the neck as well and stuff. But
that has effect on the traps, and then the back.
Exactly, mate. These muscles, they're elastic. So look at that diagram there. Again, the skeleton and stuff. And what happens with the muscles on the back of the shoulder and the back of the neck? They lose their elasticity over time. So muscles work like this: they contract and expand, contract, expand. So when they lose their elasticity, when they do contract, they just become all mangled and knotted. And that's when people talk about knots in their backs and things like that. That's what that is. You've lost the elasticity in the muscles in your back, and as they've contracted, they've just become really, really, really knotted. Yeah. And then over time, you're fighting against that because the muscles at the front of your body become really, really tight. So it just carries on pulling you forward and stuff.
Yeah.
But the main muscle, without a shadow of a doubt, that's affected from prolonged sitting is the hip flexors. Especially your psoas. It's a big, powerful muscle that runs, deep inside your body, and it's a difficult muscle for a therapist to treat anyway. So if you're going to keep one muscle nice and long and nice and stretched, it's the hip flexor. You can't really see it on here. Let me see if I can draw a little something, mate. But the hip flexor literally runs from here to there. You see that on the screen?
Yeah. So I suppose once that slouch position, is that just getting tighter and tighter and tighter?
Exactly, mate. Yeah. Tighter and tighter over time. Yeah. So you're in that position 7 hours a day. And then you might go home and sit as well, and then depending on your sleeping position, most people sleep in a fetal position or curled up as well. That's adding to that as well, mate. So
what will that do to the spine?
So over time, so the hip flexor in particular, the one that I've drawn here, what that does then, it will pull on the pelvis. So all of a sudden you go from having an anterior pelvis, and then it just pulls on it, so it ends up kind of pulling you forwards, pulling your pelvis, and it just adds to that slouchiness.
Yeah.
And then that's what gives you that hunched look, that gives you the flat back. What you actually need is a curve in your lower back and a curve in your neck. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's just adding extra stress to the lower back.
Completely, mate, completely. And then you've got muscle atrophy as well, and you'll know this, more than me, mate. But I mean, you're sat in this position for 7, 8, 9 hours a day, mate, and you've just got muscle atrophy, happening at an alarming rate, mate. The glutes are losing their strength. The big powerful leg muscles as well. It's just and when the muscles are not being used, not using up energy, not using up glucose, again, it just plays havoc with the physiology of the body.
I think the statistic, you'd have to look this up at home or look this
up.
up.
I was trying to kind of remember one just, but yeah, go on, you know it.
After 30, I think that we can lose up to 3 up to 5% every 10 years of muscles.
Jeez. Yeah.
Active, we're not preventing that loss of muscle. And we often see elderly people with poor posture. We see elderly people that are weak, can barely move. What is it that's moving the body? It's the muscles.
Muscles, mate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you don't want to set yourself up to be in that position when you're elderly, because my nan's like that. My nan can barely move, and she's become so weak. And part of that, I think, she's let go a little bit in herself. But another part of it, she's just stopped moving. She's completely refusing to move, and then when she does, she's lost a lot of muscle, a lot of the connections from the brain to the muscle, and I think it's horrible to see,
I mean, would you say, I don't think there's enough being done for the older adults, mate. It's easy enough. So your typical client group, what is it? 25 to 55.
25 to 55, yeah.
And it just seems as if that, after 55. People get worried about treating that subgroup of clients and stuff.
Yeah.
Or it's not as glamorous, or it's not as sexy. Do you know what I mean? But and something I would like to kind of go back and work on, and it's a worry.
I just want to stress, to anybody out there, I think we've got a wrong conception of the fitness industry and a wrong conception of training in general. It's not about making yourself look as sexy as possible. That should be a byproduct of training. Number one, it's about making yourself feel good, obviously mentally, physically, confidence, obviously looking sexy, looking good adds to that. But two, it's longevity. It's being able to move as we get past 55, as we get into 70s. You don't want to be that elderly person sat in front of the TV just disintegrating.
No, completely not, mate. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right there, mate. And it's about maintaining, health and wellness and stuff. And I've touched on the other side of the work that I do, the spinal implants and stuff. And years ago, these implants would be kind of put into 65, 70. You'd be to have some kind of spinal implant or a hip replacement or a knee replacement. That age has been brought forward, so fast now, and it's not uncommon now, for me to be there when there's a 45-year-old patient on the table needing an artificial disc replacement because they've not maintained the strength in their neck, and they've not looked after their well-being, mate.
It's but I mean, I suppose the first thing is becoming conscious, becoming aware, and then just adding those daily things which become a routine, which becomes a habit. And that's where we can make the biggest change in our lives. We've got to be aware of it first, and I'm hoping that this video does that.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. Just sparks of something in someone that gives them that awareness and that accountability, mate. And if we've got to do more of these things and go into more detail, then so be it, mate. As long as we're getting the message across and we're helping people and stuff.
I mean, it
you
might be
know.
good if we did maybe over the next few weeks, over the next few months, a specific area of the body and really go into some detail.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's so much to cover, and this isn't a class-based presentation. It's a chat, and we're just trying to get some nuggets of information out to people. But if we needed to, mate, yeah, we could definitely do that, mate. We could focus on the neck, focus on the back. We could go into some proper deep detail. But yeah, we'll chat about that, mate, off screen. And like I said, mate, and if it's going to help people out, that's the ultimate goal, mate.
Yeah, definitely. So
it's not like we've got anything better to do.
Yeah, so moving on from there.
What have we got next, mate? So okay, yeah, good shout, mate. Good segue there. So we spoke about the spine, spoke about the back, the neck, and the shoulders, taking the brunt of that, mate. So this now is starting to link into a little bit of what you do as well. But this is becoming a big focus point now, kind of mental and physiological health as well. So and especially at the minute, there's going to be a lot of people kind of bound to the kind of their homes and the sofa and stuff. So I just really want to kind of just emphasize that even if you think you're fit and well and you've got a strong body, by not moving at the minute, it's going to cause havoc with the rest of the body, mate. So hormone levels, when you're not moving, your body's not producing these hormones, mate. Testosterone, big power hormone, which we're all familiar with. When you're not moving, your testosterone is not being produced, and it's been shown that testosterone, gives us the ability to focus and stuff. So when you're feeling like you're just lacking that little bit of focus, it's because you're not moving enough, you're not producing enough of these hormones as well, and the stress hormone as well, cortisol. When you're sat there all day, the body's kind of, we spoke about earlier about, we're designed to move, and when we're not moving, the body's going to start releasing cortisol because it thinks it's sort of something's happening. It thinks that you're in a hospital bed, or it thinks that there's some kind of disease coming. But and the stress hormone, mate, it really affects how we store fat, and with everything going around at the minute with this virus, it really affects our immunity as well, mate. When we've got cortisol running around our body, our immunity shuts down.
And I suppose cortisol is like you were saying, with the stress that everybody's placed under at the moment, we've probably got heightened levels of cortisol.
Exactly.
And if we're not
anyway,
that cortisol becomes catabolic, so it then starts to break down tissues, tap the immune system. But exercising and moving actually, reduces that catabolic and that corrosive effect of cortisol.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, mate, that are really scared out there and really fearful and stuff. And I don't blame them, mate. My head's had a wobble a couple of times as well. And you've got the virus, which is one thing, but then you've got the fear as well, which has been kind of consciously or subconsciously rammed down our throats. And just that fear, mate, is probably as harmful as the virus itself in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say don't watch the news, because we need to start.
Completely. Yeah.
We need to remind ourselves of the reality we're in, but definitely monitoring your news usage. I think.
We put the telly on, we get the kids to bed, we put the telly on at 9-10 o'clock, and we just get the information then, mate. And there's a lot of stuff going around on social media as well, which it's I don't know how factual it is, but it's just it can be quite scaremongering and stuff. And then you've got that issue with the shops, and that worry about not being able to get supplies for your family and things like that. So
I think the best thing we can do is focus on ourselves and those people around us. Make sure we're connected. Make sure we're all good, and look after your health, mate, and move, man.
Yeah, exactly. And those that have been, that have been laid off or furloughed, mate, this is the time to do that, mate. Reconnect with your body, reconnect with your family, and just start moving more, start, looking into exercise programs, downloading a plan online, and there's loads, mate. I mean, we live in an information age. I know we're telling you not to look at screens so much, but then it's about using that time wisely rather than mindlessly scrolling through stuff that's not giving you anything.
Definitely. So moving
this next one as well, Dan, I just want to really touch on lung health, mate. Again, with everything that's going on at the minute, the coronavirus is a disease of the lungs, mate. And I've always tried to emphasise good lung health because it seems it's often forgotten about. But that poor posture that we were talking about, where it kind of end up flexed over, compressing in, mate. That leads to poor lung expansion, and it causes a lot of dead space in the lungs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you're sat all day as well, you're probably only using your top third of your lungs, to breathe in quite shallowly and breathe out. So there's bottom part of your lungs, the other 2/3 are dead space, and when that space is dead and not being used, it's more prone to infection. It's more prone to disease and stuff. So it's definitely something to be aware of, mate. More so now than ever.
I suppose, like we said, when we're inactive, even if we're thinking about a part of our internal organs, that then starts to get smaller and weaker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, completely, mate. Like any of the muscle, like your heart as well. If that's not being used, that heart's a muscle as well. And that becomes weak as well and stuff. So, but the lung health one, it's a pretty easy one to do. It's a pretty easy one to look after, and it's cardio is a good way of working on your lung health. But it's there's lots of deep breathing exercises you can do. There's I saw that you did a post the other day on Instagram about box breathing and stuff, and that's so important. I've got a few tips at the end for that as well, which we'll go into. But it's just one to be aware of. The digestive system as well, works in the same way. You compress, everything's compressed, so it just slows down your digestive system, mate. Sorry, Dan, you were going to say something then, mate.
So I'd say take some time every hour to take a minute to breathe deeply.
Yeah, exactly.
Either whether it's the 4 seconds in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold with the box, or even just 3 to 4 in, 5 to 6 out. Deep expansion, really breathing through the belly, through the diaphragm.
We spoke offline about so there's one group of people that surprisingly, actually, when they are sat at a desk so long, don't seem to suffer so much with their backs, and they don't seem to have some of these problems that we've talked about, and that's the smoker. I'm not encouraging smoking at all because obviously, but if you think about how often a smoker will leave their desk, 3 or 4 times a day. They'll leave the desk, they'll go down the stairs, they'll go outside. There's probably a smoking shelter, a couple of meters off site and stuff. And that's the kind of thing you want to be doing, but without the smoking. Yeah. And they've actually got it. And if you look at that, and obviously it brings other issues with smoking, but they don't suffer nowhere near as much with their back, their neck. They seem to be able to focus more because they've gone outside, they've got some fresh air, they're taking deep breaths in, albeit with a cigarette and stuff. And then they come back and they're energized and they're ready to go. And then you've got everyone else that doesn't smoke that are probably still sat at the desk. Yeah. Or they've maybe made it as far as the canteen or the kitchen to grab some biscuits, and that's about it.
So could it be, taking regular breaks? Could it just be for those smokers the extra movement which is causing creativity in the brain, and then the deep from taking in the smoke? That's the effect. That's why that they're not suffering much.
And it's that time away from the screen, and you come back in and you're ready to kind of carry on with your task again, because let's face it, a lot of computer work's monotonous. And it just it drives you to despair sometimes. So if you're taking regular breaks, it just helps you out a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. See, would you say every so often take a walk, even if it's around the house, because we're in isolation?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Definitely at the minute, and obviously, from a work perspective as well, you know, obviously you hope that your company or your employer will be, you know, quite on board with this, but it's about regular breaks, mate. You know, it's about, you know, 1 or 2 breaks in the morning and then 1 or 2 breaks in the afternoon. You know, we're only talking 5-10 minutes, but yes, you know, now we're at home as well, mate. You know, it's about factoring in some you know, some kind of routine and, you know, some opportunities to step away from what you're doing and go and do something else for a little bit. But take a walk down the bottom of the garden, or a little walk around the block. And I know I can't get out too much at the minute, but you know, just some time away from what you would normally be doing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What else have we got here, mate? Sleep cycles, yeah. So you probably know more than this about me. We spoke about this offline as well. But so what blue screens in it? So you know, imagine working at a screen all day. You know, it's that screen time. It just plays havoc with you. You know, with you know, I've touched on this on one of my last slides as well. But you know, plays havoc with your sleep cycle. And as you know, when you're quite sedentary as well during the day, you know, my little girl's struggling to sleep at the minute. She can't get up to sleep till about 9 or 10. You know, and at school she's running around, she's burning off energy. You know, she comes home, she's normally in bed at 7:30. She's flat out, but at the minute, because she's not doing all that running around, she's struggling to get herself to sleep. So when you're quite sedentary, you know, you do struggle with sleeping and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose, you know, it's monitoring how long we're on these screens for.
Yeah.
There's got to be a cut-off point before bed, you know, because that blue light that we're getting through the screens is on the same spectrum as the morning sun. So if we don't play, we never give ourselves time to relax and get in a full state, you know.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. You know, and if you're doing a lot of work from an iPhone as well instead of a bigger screen, it puts a lot of strain on your eyes as well. You know, what was your screen time the other week? You were telling me.
Right, it was
7-8 hours.
7 hours, and you know, I'm going from someone that's only on it for an hour a day.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to my work's with people, connecting, and actually being there one-on-one or in a group. To now, obviously, I know that I've adapted it to over Zoom, over, you know, doing the workouts online and stuff, but that's still far too much.
Yeah, exactly. Have you found it? Have you found sleeping? Have you had
to? Do you know what? I would try and stay at, not strict, but I do try and give myself an hour, half an hour, an hour of no phone before I even get into bed. So, I felt like I've been going to bed earlier. I've been getting into bed about 9, and I've been getting up at about 7:30. So I've been feeling pretty good, to be honest. So it hasn't really affected.
The key is not to take the phone in your room with you as well, because you know, if it's there, the temptation's there. You might get a notification in the middle of the night. You might be tempted to have a look at your phone, check the time, and then all of a sudden, you know, bang, you know, it's just plays havoc with your head. And
I mean, that's a perfect time to maybe make that a conscious habit, because we haven't exactly got to get up for a specific time.
Yeah, true, mate. Yeah.
So you don't need the phone in the room, or it can be at the other side of the room, turned face down, silent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Bang on, mate. Absolutely. Good point, mate. Good tip there. What else have we got here? So yeah, I mean, some of this, Dan, we've spoke about, mate. You know, so you know, prolonged sitting. You sat at a desk all day. You know, just think of reduced blood and oxygen going to the brain. The brain becomes more sluggish, and you know, your mental capacity and your memory becomes impaired. So you know, you lose that ability to do what you're sat there to do, because there's, you know, your brain uses up such a lot of blood and oxygen. It's, you know, when you're feeling like you can't focus or you can't concentrate, that's your body telling you to stand up, you know, go for a walk, do something that's just going to get a bit of blood to the brain.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I like that one that you've put there, reduced exposure to vitamin D.
Yeah. So you're getting exposed to the wrong kind of light, sat in front of the screen all day. You're getting the blue light, what you're not getting is the vitamin D, mate, and it's been linked to so many issues with the body. The main one being depression and stuff, but it plays a key role in producing a lot of hormones as well.
Yeah, and especially in this time, I know that vitamin D is crucial for our immune system health.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
With this virus and with everything that's going on, we need a good immune system. So
yeah.
Would you suggest maybe if people can and it's a nice weather, why don't you take your desk outside in your garden?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly that. And that's the thing. Yeah, this is the time really to do that. And I think as a society, we're quite an indoor society. If you look across on the continents and stuff, and how much time they spend outdoors, it's a lot more. Okay, they've got the better weather. I get that and stuff, but it's nothing to stop you going outside, even if it's raining. It's just getting outside, putting some wellies on, taking a walk, doing some forest bathing, going through a walk through a forest and stuff. Any kind of natural daylight is going to be so beneficial.
Absolutely. But yeah. So if you'd like to move on onto the next slides.
Yeah, I think we're about done on this slide, mate, aren't we? That bottom one as well. Digital dementia I put there because it's been shown, that phone and screen use, particularly if it's mundane, if you're just passively scrolling, for hours at a time, not engaging your brain, not necessarily reading, you're just seeing what Sharon down the road's up to, or your mate Dave's done this weekend. Can structurally and behaviourally rewire the brain, and they're starting to call this digital dementia. So it's where the brain's just starting to shut down from too much mundane phone use. And again, we're not saying don't use your phones. We live in an age where we're so dependent on digital stuff, computers, iPads and stuff. But it's about being mindful of the kind of activities you're using it for and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we are just mindlessly scrolling in an age of information, we're kind of doing ourselves a bit of disjustice there. I mean, I'm not saying
I don't know what information to take in nowadays. It's that much that's kind of flying around. You don't know what information to absorb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with coming away from what you're doing or learning, and to look at Sharon's post, what she's done, but you can guarantee it's the same stuff as what you've been doing. We're sat in our homes and it's either moaning about something, which is then going to cause more stress to our body.
Yeah, but a lot of people seek that gratification. So a lot of people take some reassurance that they're doing the same as what Sharon's doing down the road. They're feeling better about themselves, or equally, someone's posted that they've gone away and had an amazing weekend, and you've been sat in your house. Not doing anything, and all of a sudden you start questioning your own life or your decisions, or we should have done that this weekend, blah blah blah.
It's a two-way street, isn't it?
Yeah, completely, mate.
Definitely. So moving on from getting some tips for us, and
that's it. I mean, very much the last slide down now, really, mate. Just we've talked about. Without trying to sound too doomy and gloomy, there's lots that can be done, mate. Again, it's just about and the information that I've tried to put across is just hopefully it's been enough just to spark a little bit of awareness and that consciousness in people and stuff. So I've got a couple of tips here that you can be doing either at a desk when you've got a desk-based job, or certainly with everything that's going on at the minute, you might find yourself housebound. So first and foremost, it's dedicating some time and space to exercise, mate. And that exercise isn't just about going for a run. Exercise is about being flexible. It's about being mobile, stretching and exercise. What did I mean to put there?
Strengthening.
Say it again.
Maybe strengthening,
mate. Strengthen, yes, yeah, exactly that. So if you're going to give yourself an hour's exercise a day, I like to try and suggest it's not going to suit everyone, but it's going to suit people that have maybe got some aches and pains with their body, struggling. Obviously, those that are already actively keeping fit, you decide yourself. But if you're struggling with any kind of back issue, you're struggling with the effects of sitting, dedicate an hour a day, and in that hour, 20 minutes to stretching, 20 minutes to strengthening, and 20 minutes of some kind of cardio-based exercise. And that's more than enough to start counterbalancing the effects of the sitting. It can be done all at one go, or you can do your stretching in the morning for 20 minutes. You can do some strengthening, after work, or you can do some cardio as well, like later on in the day as well. But it's about focusing on the muscles at the front of the body. Sorry, mate.
You're hitting all bases there, then, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that. And that's the thing. You're ticking every box, and you're giving your body the best chance to counterbalance, everything that's going on at the minute. And then focus on the muscles really at the front of the body, keeping them stretched out, but keeping the muscles at the back of your body strong. So this is where sometimes I refer patients onto a PT, onto a personal trainer like yourself, because it's important that they carry that on, and that they become aware of the types of exercises that they can do. But if you're stuck at home at the minute, you haven't got access to a gym, or you're in an office all day, I think it's really important to have a space. I've worked with a couple of organisations, and what we've done, we've dedicated a proper stretching space. So it's got all the exercises on the wall, it's got a couple of bands, it's got a bar to hang from, or hang your resistance bands from and stuff. And that's been the best thing for those companies, because people have been able to take their way away from their desk, go to a dedicated space. There'll be a yoga mat on the floor, and it's not much space. You only need kind of 2 meters by 2 meters. And that's worked really, really well. So it's doing the same at home as well, just dedicating somewhere to go and do some exercise. Not everyone's got a big garden, I get that. Some people live in flats and stuff, but you can find a bit of space, and you can do a couple of these things.
I mean, maybe this is where, like we said earlier, we could do some future videos on specific parts of the body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We could talk through the specific exercises then, maybe.
Yeah, exactly that. And certainly with your knowledge as well, mate, we could go into this a lot more detail. So, I'm not sure who this is going out to, but when we talk about the muscles at the front of the chest, it's the front of the body, it's the chest muscles, it's the front of the shoulders, and it's the hip flexors as well at the front there. Right in there, the psoas and your hamstrings as well. When you're sat all day, your hamstrings become really, really short. So it's about keeping those nice and long. So it's about keeping the muscles at the front of your body stretched. It's about keeping the muscles at the back of your body strong.
Yeah.
So if the muscles at the back of your body are strong, they'll help naturally pull everything back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And something that I, tend to do with a lot of my clients, we do far more, posterior, so far more back,
posterior chain stuff. Yeah, good.
Back, the shoulder, back of the neck, compared to, pushing work, so front of the body. And that's because a lot of them are desk bound.
Yeah, completely, mate. Yeah, exactly. That's good. And that's it, mate. It's good to see that awareness, from personal trainers and stuff. Before it would have been a big emphasis on the chest and arm muscles, and that's it. But it's not, mate. A good PT, knows the right areas to work, and should be specific to that individual.
Yeah, definitely.
Second one I got here, and I touched on earlier, is lung health, mate. So cardio is going to be a good consistent way of maintaining good lung health. Deep breathing exercises. So just explain box breathing again, Dan. What that is?
So with box breathing, it's a fantastic stress reduction exercise. Can be used if you're stressing, you've got anxiety, but it's also a good exercise to just take control and breathe nice and deep. So you could imagine a box and breathe in for 4, well, depending how big your lungs are, could be anywhere from 3 to 4 seconds. So 3 to 4 hold, 3 to 4 exhale, and then 3 to 4 hold. And then you'd continue that cycle in, exhale, hold. And you could do that for anywhere up to 5 minutes. It's completely up to you.
That I like that, because that hold's really important. When you're holding your breath, the air gets to the bottom of your lungs, and it starts opening up those inactive lung areas. And you can only really do that when you've got a hold. Breathe breathing in deep's one thing, but there's got to be that 2 to 3 second hold at the end.
Yeah.
And another really good tip is when you're breathing out, to try and breathe out through pursed lips, like almost kind of close your mouth a little bit, and create a little bit of like resistance when you're breathing out. And what that does is it splints the airways open.
Yeah.
The best way of doing this is to try and, if you've ever tried blowing a balloon up,
yeah,
take a big deep breath and try and blow into a balloon. That resistance, what that does, it again, strengthening your lung muscles, and it's opening up, dead space in your lungs by splinting everything open. So it's a really good tip is if you're going to do deep breathing, there's got to be that hold at the end, and there's got to be that breathing out against either pursed lips or some kind of resistance.
Definitely, with the time that we're in, our lungs probably aren't getting expanded as much. So yeah, agree with everything saying there. With the lung, virus or corona, whatever's going around, it's important we keep the lungs fully utilised.
Well, so much. I've got so many colleagues now, that physio colleagues that are working in ITU, that are seeing patients, to try and work with them on these breathing strategies, and to keep their lungs clear of secretions and stuff. And it's now more than ever, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I've got one there. So these are strange times, mate. I'm never going to see anything like this in our lifetimes again. But it's trying to normalise the abnormal. So we spoke about earlier about having the news on, being aware of what's going on, because there's nothing more worse than ignorant people that are still going about in their daily lives. Shit times, we're going through a really rough time, but it's about trying to normalise that as best you can. And the way to do that is build some kind of routine and have some goals in your day, things that you're going to try and achieve. And this is more from a mental point of view. It's just going to keep people's sanity, and just have kind of clarity on what's most important for you at this time. Is it keeping yourselves fit and healthy? Is it making sure the kids are okay with everything? Because it's going to be completely different to everyone, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just move inside because somebody started cutting the grass. I don't know whether it's going to affect the sound.
Should be all right, mate. I'll shut my windows. I might be right down here.
Let me just get inside.
So MTV Cribs.
Yeah, it is nice, and I'm grateful for having this place to isolate in. I can't imagine what it's like to be in a 1-bedroom flat or being on your own. So I can only say that I'm grateful where I'm at.
But that's what it's important to reach out to those people that are, your gran or old people that have got nothing to do other than watch telly all day. And and it's, when the telly's all day, it's going to be all that negative news as well. So if you know anyone that's in that situation, that is in a 1-bedroom flat, you reach out to them, make sure they're okay. Just do what you can to help to help everyone through this.
Definitely love that point, because we are isolating. And although this conversation has been about limiting the use of technology or being mindful of what you're doing, don't forget we have the technology to connect still. So
exactly. Do exactly
that.
Mate. Exactly that, mate. And it was a difficult one to try and put together because I didn't want to make it too corporate, but I wanted to bring in certainly what's going on at the minute as well, and try and make it quite relevant, because inactivity doesn't mean sat at a desk all day. Inactivity is essentially what we're all doing at the minute, and we're isolating ourselves, and you'd normally be seeing 4 or 5 clients a day, maybe more. You might be joining in with them, so I imagine your exercise levels and your body's probably taking a bit of a shock as well in terms of what's happening at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd say that I'm in a good state at the moment because a lot of stress has been reduced. I'm not going for meetings. I'm not here, there, and everywhere. I'm not trying to organise this. I'm not. you know, everything's slowed down. So for me, I'm taking this time as a bonus.
Yeah. I think a lot of people realise that. It's, you know, a lot of people now have got a bit more perspective on things, and you know, certainly one good thing that's come out of this is that, you know, everyone's realised how busy and fast their lives were before, and you know, trying to adjust now to you know, this being the new norm. You know, it takes a bit of time. You know, I'm the worst for that. You know, I go on a 2-week holiday with a wife and kids, and it takes me a week to switch off, and it's not until I'm coming home that I start to relax.
Yeah.
You know, the first week on holiday, I'm a nightmare, mate. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm finding myself quite bored, checking my phone a lot. But you know, it's just settling into it, mate. So it kind of ties in with the last. I mean, I've chipped in a bit of a Brucey bonus there, but you know, just turn off your notifications as well, and you know, try not to be a slave to your phone. You know, I've done that. You know, if it's important, someone will ring you and they'll get hold of you and stuff. But there's nothing worse when you try and spend time with a family. You know, at this time you've got the kids, or you're at work and you're doing a task and you'll get a notification, and it's a Facebook notification, it's an Instagram notification, it's an email, it's a text, it's a WhatsApp. You know, it could be anything, and it just throws you from what you're doing, and it's, you know, lose the ability to focus. You're trying to do one thing and then your phone's going, you're checking it. So I've taken all notifications off my phone, and what I've said is that I'll check my phone in the morning, about 9. I'll check it at lunchtime. I'll check it again, you know, later on in the evening, and you know, you factor time in to respond to messages and texts. Like I said, it's important. Someone will ring you and get hold of you, but you know, try not to be a slave to your phone at the time, and just focus on what's important.
Definitely. I agree with everything you've said there, and I think it's a nice way to, you know, wrap up everything that we've been talking about.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
You know, it's a lot about mental health. It's also a lot about physical health, and it's, you know, the body leads the mind leads the body. We're so interlinked. It's just doing things, you know, that are incorporating both, you know, so we can get the best out of ourselves and get the best out of the situation we're placed in. Definitely.
Yeah.
But
definitely, mate.
I thank you for coming on and chatting with me.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. On that note, mate, I can feel my back starting to tighten up now and stuff. So I'm gonna go stretch off, take a bit of a walk, mate. Get outside, get some sun, mate.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again soon. We'll catch up soon, mate. We'll think about something else to put together, mate. But you know, like I said, while we've got the time, mate, let's use it. Let's use it wisely, mate. Help people out.
Definitely. Well, have a good day, mate. And
you, mate.
Yeah. I'll see you
later.
later.
Look after yourself. Stay safe, all right?
And you, mate.
Take care, mate.